Pray this 3 a.m. tonight to protect yourself from toxic influence before it's too late. In a world where shadows breathe and darkness has a pulse, a chilling tale awaits. The clock ticked closer to midnight, and whispers invaded the night air. Rumors swirled of a sinister force rising at 3 a.m., an entity that thrived on fear and toxic energy. They said if you didn't pray at that precise hour, you'd be left vulnerable, exposed to malevolent influences that could claw at your very soul. The streets were shrouded in fog, distorting familiar shapes into twisting horrors lurking just beyond sight. Evelyn felt it that night. A tightness gripped her chest, pulling her into the realm of dread. August moonlight slashed through her bedroom window, casting eerie patterns on the wall. She could hear the restless hum of creatures hiding in the dark, waiting for the moment to pounce. Within moments, everything would spiral just like last time. She pressed her hands together, hoping the simple act would anchor her as the air thickened, heavy with something unspoken. It was a strange feeling, an itch skimming her spine, whispering secrets that made her heart race. Just then, the floor creaked, a soft echo of a distant thud. The tension sharpened like glass. She could almost hear the veil separating her from whatever wickedness prowled beyond. Footsteps, they sounded closer, a jarring reminder that something was undeniably out there, inching its way toward her. The hairs on her arms stood at attention while a cold trickle of sweat rolled down her brow. In her mind, she pictured the faces of those who'd forgotten to pray, haunting eyes staring right back, glossed over by despair, but who could she trust? Friends had warned her about the dangers of toxicity, their voices lingered, coded with urgency. Would they believe her if she told them what she felt? A tickle of uncertainty flickered in her chest. Snapping back to reality, she recalled the strange symbols she'd seen etched into old trees by the river, their meaning lost to time. Each one a warning, perhaps. She glanced at her clock, its digital display illuminated like a beacon in the encroaching darkness. Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. The clock ticked its final countdown. She knelt, heart racing, palms pressed against the cold wooden floor. Just as the hour drew near, a flicker of uncertainty struck her mind again. What if she prayed and it wasn't enough? A labored breath escaped her lips, echoing loudly in the stillness. She could feel the oppressive weight of worry enveloping her, a reminder that time was running out. What secrets would be revealed at 3 a.m.? What waiting horrors would tear through the veil, eager to claim her? The only thing separating her from oblivion was a simple prayer, but was it enough? The moment the clock struck 3 a.m., a chilling silence enveloped Evelyn. Time stood still, the very world outside her window held its breath. Shadows danced in corners, twisting into forms that made her skin crawl. She could feel the temperature drop, a gnawing cold gnashing at her bones. Heart pounding, her voice barely a whisper, she began to pray. Guide me, protect me, keep me safe. The words tumbled out in a frantic rhythm, a desperate plea to a fading light in a world thick with darkness, but as she uttered the last word, a piercing shriek sliced through the night, rising from the depths of her own mind. It was as if something dark had awakened, gnashing teeth in hunger. Evelyn's voice faltered. Was it the power of the prayer, or had she just unleashed something far worse? Then, from the corner of her eye, she caught movement, just a flash, a flicker. A figure, dark but distinctly humanoid, shifted in her peripheral vision. Chills rushed down her spine, her breath halting as she turned slowly, clutching the carpet beneath her knees. Nothing. Just the emptiness of her room, blanketed in shadows. Her heart hammered, a wild drum echoing her fear. Was this what it felt like to be hunted? Panic clawed at her throat like a tightening noose. She needed to focus. Remember the signs, the warnings. It had all been leading to this moment. Suddenly, the air shimmered with an unnatural energy. The walls felt like they were closing in, pulsating with whispers that morphed into a cacophony of voices, murmuring, "You did not heed the signs, you are unprotected." Evelyn squeezed her eyes shut, a storm of doubts and regrets flooding her mind. What if she had ignored them for too long? Those old trees by the river. What if the symbols weren't just warnings but something more insidious, a map guiding malevolence directly to her? No. She shouted, breaking the spell. She couldn't succumb to this madness. This was her moment to fight. Gathering every shred of courage, she spoke louder, chanted her plea as if it were a shield, "I will not let you in." But the darkness didn't relent. A shadow slithered across the floor, creeping, taunting. It wasn't merely a figment of her imagination, it was real, tangible. A chill of terror gripped her heart as the figure materialized. Wide, hollow eyes stared into her soul, reflecting a twisted mockery of her own fear. Just then, an unsettling thought pierced through the chaos. What if this entity wasn't alone? What if there were more, waiting, watching, hungry for her vulnerability? They could be creeping into the hearts of those she cared about, spreading toxicity just beyond her reach. The figure advanced, its features shifting, distorting into those of her friends' faces filled with despair, eyes glazed with a hopelessness that felt achingly familiar. Evelyn recoiled, horror blossoming in her chest. Could she bear the thought of harming anyone because she hadn't taken the warning seriously? She had prayed, why was this happening? Then the clock chimed again. An ominous tone, signaling the peak of darkness. She felt a tug at her mind, a sharp, insistent whisper weaving through her thoughts, "Join us, give in, it is easier and oh." She screamed again, tearing herself away from the nightmare. She had to make a choice: fall into despair with them or embrace the fight for her soul. The weight of the hour pressed heavily around her, a reminder that time was slipping into the abyss. And as the figure edged closer, Evelyn's desperation morphed into resolve. But what would be the consequences of her choice? The shadows were gathering, and she was losing her grip. Just as darkness loomed to consume her, the lights flickered, and from the flickering, a new revelation dawned. Was it her faith that would save her, or something far darker that awaited beyond the threshold? With every heartbeat, the clock's hands crept forward. Was it time to confront the darkness, or would she find herself snared in the very web of toxic influence she feared? Evelyn felt her resolve waver as the figure continued to loom, a palpable darkness that tightened around her throat. Breathless, she stared into the hollow eyes, each blink of the creature feeling like a tick of the clock, counting down to some terrible fate. "You will join us," it hissed, the voices of her friends echoing in its every word, laced with sorrow and despair. That single phrase echoed in her mind. It was true. What if she became just another shadow among them? Her heart raced. She had to push back, to reclaim her sanity. The prayer had to be more than just a desperate act, it needed meaning, power. She gathered herself, drawing from memories of those she loved, moments of laughter, joy, and hope. "I am not afraid of you," she shouted, the tremor in her voice steadied by determination. "You have no power over me." The figure shuddered. The air grew thick, swirling with energy both foreign and familiar, crackling with possibility. For a fleeting moment, she thought she noticed the shadows flinch as if recoiling from her words. She pressed on, desperation morphing into practiced conviction. "We are not alone," she cried, extending her arms as if to push the weight of despair away. "We stand together." Her heart found its rhythm in that declaration, bolstered by the collective strength of those she cherished most. But the creature summoned darker shades, whispering taunts that slithered into her thoughts. "You think they will save you? They're already lost." Each word sliced through her determination, leaving cuts that twitched against her heart. For an instant, doubt glimmered in her mind like a flickering candle, threatening to extinguish her light. "What if I fail them?" she thought, that nagging insecurity encroaching like fog. Then she felt it, a warmth blossoming within her. Something sparked. It was a reminder of the strength in unity, commitment, love. Her friends hadn't left her, they would fight. Evelyn closed her eyes, envisioning each person who mattered. Their smiles illuminated her mind, chasing away the encroaching darkness. She began to chant again, this time more focused, more fierce. Protect me, guide me, let us face the shadows together. With each repetition, she felt their presence, as if they were standing beside her, hands joined in solidarity. The figure recoiled, its edges fraying like tattered fabric, wavering under the strength of her newly found conviction. But just as hope flickered anew, her phone buzzed violently on the nightstand, vibrating like an alarm bell. The sound broke the spell, drawing her unresolved fears back to the forefront. She fumbled for it, her fingers trembling. The message was from Mia, her best friend. Evelyn, something's wrong. I need your help. That cryptic line sent dread spiraling through her veins. Had it spread? Were the shadows reaching beyond reaching her? The figure surged forward again, greedily feeding on her fear, shrouding her in a haze of intangible dread. It was then that she realized this wasn't just about her anymore. Her friends were in danger, perhaps caught in the very influence she feared. The clock marked 3:03 a.m., the oppressive atmosphere darkening even further. She had to move, to do something. But what? How would she shield those she loved against unseen forces gnawing at their hearts? Evelyn set her jaw, adrenaline tightening her resolve. I'm coming for you. She bolted up, determined. You won't take them. The figure writhed but held strong, a malevolent energy thrashing against her will. As the walls throbbed around her, something deep within whispered that more awaited her than just confrontation. There was an answer hidden within the shadows. Would she find the strength to confront the darkness threatening her friends? Or would she surrender to the very fear she had tried to fight? The clock chimed again, echoing a sound that raised the hairs on her arms. It was time to make her stand, an encounter that could change everything. Evelyn took a deep breath as she readied herself for what lay ahead. More shadows were lurking just out of sight, and she had a feeling her trials were only beginning. Evelyn sprinted into the hallway, every nerve in her body alight with urgency. The shadows whispered behind her, but she pushed past the fear choking her. She needed to reach Mia fast. The air was frigid, wrapping around her like icy fingers. Morning was still hours away, but every flicker of the overhead light sent her heart racing. Their usual warmth was gone, replaced by flickering uncertainty that mirrored the darkness lurking in her mind. As she dashed down the stairs, she called out, Mia. Her voice echoed, swallowed by the distant silence of the house. The walls felt alive, almost as if they were watching her, pressing against her. The echo of her own fear twisted her stomach. The living room was dimly lit, shadows pooling in the corners. Evelyn's gaze darted to the window. Outside, the world lay still under an ink-black sky, veiled by a thick fog. It felt unreal, like a scene from a nightmare that had seeped into reality. Her phone buzzed again, vibrating against her skin like a heartbeat. She grabbed it, nearly tripping over the edge of the rug. Another message from Mia, I can't stay here. I'm scared, Ev, please. A wave of panic surged through her. The shadows were not just in her home, they were reaching out, engulfing Mia. Hold on. Evelyn shouted, half in hope, half in desperation. I'm coming. The front door slammed, rattling the doorknob. Her pulse thundered in her ears. Who was there? She crept toward the sound, each step careful. The darkness curled around her, thickening, but she was resolute. Show yourself. She demanded, summoning any remaining courage. The door creaked open, but no one was there. Just the empty porch, dimly lit by the street lamps that flickered like dying stars. Evelyn. The voice jolted her back. It was Mia, appearing from around the side of the house, her face pale and eyes wide with terror. Mia. Thank God. Evelyn rushed to her, grabbing her shoulders. What has happened? Before Mia could respond, the darkness roared back, the creature's presence palpable as it invaded the space between them. Its voice hissed from the shadows, "You think you can save her? You're both already mine." Evelyn felt the weight of its words wrap around her throat again, squeezing tighter, threatening to choke her resolve. But Mia's fearful gaze pierced through the fog of despair. "We have to stick together, Ev," she whispered, "we can't let it in." Breath escaping in short bursts, Evelyn managed a nod. "Okay, together. We'll fight it." The air shifted. An unnatural cold enveloped them, as if the night itself had taken a step closer, ready to consume them whole. Shadows curled like restless serpents around the yard, hungry to snatch away the light. "Don't look back," Mia urged, her voice taut with urgency. "Focus on what binds us." Evelyn closed her eyes, envisioning their shared moments, laughs, secrets, dreams. "Protect us," she cried, the mantra building in her chest. "We are stronger together." The shadows hissed, swirling restlessly, torn between her growing force and their own dark hunger. And in that blur of chaos, a flicker of light ignited above them, a beacon pushing against the gnawing darkness. Their hands shot up, reaching for it, believing in the flicker of hope that grew brighter by the second. But as the light danced, the creature roared, unleashing a sound that fractured the night. "You cannot escape." Evelyn and Mia stepped back, fear tightening inside them. Suddenly, they were being pulled apart, as though the shadows conspired to devour their connection. "Stay with me," Evelyn cried. The darkness surged, eager to consume any light left in this world. And just as they thought they would be swallowed whole, a crack of thunder rumbled through the night, and a brilliant flash of white lightning lit the sky. What was that? Mia gasped, wide-eyed as shards of bright energy broke apart the shadows. But before Evelyn could answer, the world around them shuddered, the ground beneath her feet splitting in a blinding flash. "Evelyn!" Then everything went dark. In the silence after, time seemed suspended. What awaited them on the other side of the shadows? Was it a deeper darkness or the dawn they so desperately needed? Evelyn's heart pounded. She had to keep going, there was no turning back now. The answers were waiting, but at what cost? She reached for the light, pulling against the otherworldly force with all she had. Suddenly, from the depths of that darkness, she heard a whisper. "You cannot escape, but you don't have to fight alone." And with that, the ground quaked again, hinting at deeper truths yet uncovered. Who had spoken? What were the shadows truly after? The darkness promised secrets, and Evelyn was determined to unearth every single one. Evelyn blinked awake, disoriented. Cold, hard ground pressed against her back. She sat up, confusion clouding her mind. Where was she? The darkness enveloped her, more consuming than anything she had ever known. "Mia!" she shouted, panic threading her voice. There was no answer, just an echo of her own fear reverberating off unseen walls. She pushed through the haze, struggling to remember how they got there. The last thing she recalled was the lightning, the way it disrupted the shadows. Had they crossed into another realm? The air was thick, suffocating. She rose unsteadily, her heart banging against her chest. "Mia!" Desperation clawed at her throat, making it hard to breathe. Evelyn stumbled forward, each step cautious, as if the ground might give way beneath her again. Her hands brushed along what felt like cold stone, the rough surface sending chills up her arms. She strained to listen, hoping to catch a hint of her friend's voice. Instead, a low hum surrounded her, vibrating through the stones like a distant chant. It felt ancient, sinister. Then she saw it, a flicker of light, just a whisper in the sprawling darkness ahead. With renewed determination, she dashed toward it, drawing on every ounce of strength she had left. "Mia! Are you there?" The light intensified as she drew closer, revealing strange symbols etched into the rock walls. The air shimmered like heat off asphalt, distorting what lay ahead. Was that a figure? Evelyn! Mia's voice broke through, a thread of relief in the chaos. Evelyn's heart swelled. She rushed forward, but the shadows groaned, tightening their grip. "Mia!" Evelyn cried out again, her feet moving faster. As she came into view, Mia stood at the edge of a strange, shimmering portal, desperately pushing against an invisible force that kept her from stepping through. Fear etched her features. "Ev, I can't hold on much longer." Evelyn's throat tightened. "You have to fight it. Don't let it take you." Mia gritted her teeth, her legs shaking under the pressure. "I see something. I think, it's calling to me." The shadows twisted violently, writhing like a great serpent ready to strike. "You cannot pass, child," a voice hissed, smooth and dark as oil, slithering through the air. "You will be consumed." Evelyn felt a wave of anger swell inside her. "No. We are not yours." As if in response, the ground around them trembled, the symbols glowing ominously. Mia's eyes flickered with uncertainty. "We need to work together, Ev. Focus on what binds us. Together." Evelyn shouted, finding warmth in that connection. They had fought darkness before, they could do it again. The shadows whipped around them like a storm, but Evelyn took a deep breath, gathering the memories of moments they shared, their laughter, their kindness, the dreams they had forged. "Protect us!" They both shouted, voices intertwining in a powerful chorus. The shadows screamed in fury, their shrieks melting into the darkness, desperate to escape the growing light, a light that was more than just magic, it was their bond. And then came an explosion of brightness. The symbols erupted in flames, illuminating the cave, pushing back the darkness. The wind howled as the portal shimmered violently, threatening to swallow the girls whole. "Now, Mia!" Without another thought, they grasped hands, leaping toward the light. But right as they crossed the threshold, a sharp tug pulled at Evelyn, wrenching her back. "Stay!" The voice growled. "You can't have her." "Mia!" Evelyn screamed, reaching back with everything she had. The world around them twisted again, and with tremendous force, it ripped them apart. For the briefest moment, all Evelyn could feel was the weight of emptiness, like falling into an endless void. Was this truly the end? Just as darkness swallowed her, a flicker of a past memory, the kindness of a stranger, a smile in a dark time sparked within her. Hope. Hold on. And then, silence, laced with anticipation. What would happen on the other side? Would they find each other, or would the shadows carry them away, one into darkness and the other into despair? A new world awaited, teetering on the edge of light and shadow, and she was determined to find out what would rise from the chaos. Evelyn tumbled through the darkness, suspended in an endless void where time and space stretched like shadows in an unending winter. Instinct screamed at her to fight, to push against the relentless force that sought to engulf her. But the silence wrapped around her like a shroud, heavy and oppressive. Out of the dark, an image flickered to life, Mia, her friend, her anchor in the storm. Evelyn grabbed onto the memory, willing it to guide her through. The warmth of their shared laughter pulsed in her mind like a heartbeat, pulsing with urgency. "We're not alone," she whispered, though no one could hear her. Suddenly, a cold wind howled through the abyss, carrying a voice that slithered through her thoughts. "You seek your friend?" It taunted, thick with malice. "You will never reach her. You are but a lost soul, destined to wander forever." "No!" Evelyn roared, her voice breaking the silence, pushing back against the despair. "I am more. I have light to find." As she fought back, a distant flicker caught her attention. A point of brightness shimmered in the distance, teasing her like a distant star winking in a dark sky. With renewed determination, she surged toward the light, her body propelled by hope. It was daunting, the weight of the void pressing against her, but the thought of Mia kept her moving, kept her focused. Every step felt like a small rebellion against the darkness that wanted to claim her, and then, she broke through. The light consumed her not overwhelmingly, but as a gentle embrace, welcoming yet fierce. She gasped, the sensations flooding back into her body, feeling, movement, clarity. Evelyn found herself in a vast expanse, a realm unlike anything she could ever imagine. Vibrant colors pulsed around her, the air alive with energy. Floating islands formed the landscape, trees adorned with shimmering leaves that sang softly, harmonizing with unseen melodies. It was beautiful, yet there was an undercurrent of foreboding, a hint that peace came with a price. "Mia!" she called out, spinning to search her surroundings. Was she here? A scratch of panic tightened her chest. As if summoned by the call, a figure emerged from behind a vibrant cherry blossom tree. Evelyn's heart fluttered with hope, then plummeted when she realized it was not Mia. The figure wore a flowing mantle of deep violet, hair cascading like shadows. It smirked, eyes glinting with a malicious light. "Ah, the brave one awakens," it said, voice dripping with mockery. "You thought you could escape the dark. My shadows are everywhere, child. They do not fade. Where is she?" Evelyn pressed, fists clenched, the soft ground beneath her feeling suddenly unstable. "Who, your friend?" The figure grinned wider, revealing sharp teeth. "She belongs to the shadows now. You have no power here, no strength to combat what lurks." Evelyn recoiled, the wind knocking against her. "No. I won't let her go." A roar erupted from the depths of the realm, reverberating through the air. The figure chuckled darkly. "So eager to fight, but do you know what it means to confront true darkness?" Just then, a pulse radiated from her hand, the stone pendant Mia had given her began to glow, carving a soft beacon against the shadows. Energy surged through Evelyn, igniting a spark that kindled her hope. She stepped forward. "You think you can scare me? I know the power of friendship. I know what it means to fight for someone you love." The figure hesitated, its cocky demeanor faltering. Evelyn felt the energy grow, recognized it blooming from within. "Foolish girl," it hissed, regaining composure. "You think this realm will bend to your will? You will learn soon enough. Darkness is patient, and so are its minions." Suddenly, the ground quaked, and a shadowy wave surged forward, threatening to engulf her. Evelyn's heart raced. Would she be able to summon the strength she needed? Would the bond she shared with Mia be enough to push back against the tide of darkness? "Hold on, Mia!" she shouted, grabbing the glowing pendant tighter. "I'm coming." But as the shadows closed in, a chilling realization struck her. What if light wasn't enough? What if the darkness had roots deeper than she could comprehend? The light flickered around her, heartbeat by heartbeat, as she braced for impact, the answer to her question hanging delicately in the air. Would she find her way back to Mia, or would the shadows claim them both? And in the chaos, a voice echoed, "The night may yet yield its secrets." Evelyn barely had a moment to process the wave of shadows crashing towards her. Instinct kicked in. She thrust her arms outward, the pendant glowing fiercely in response, illuminating the encroaching darkness. A shattering light erupted, pushing back against the shadows for a split second, enough to draw her breath in anticipation, but the murmur of the figure echoed in her mind. Darkness is patient. The shadows would return, regroup, until they overwhelmed her. Panic clawed at her chest, a visceral fear that felt like ice. "Mia!" she shouted again, the name bitter and desperate on her tongue. The light flickered, swaying as if trying to regain balance, but something pulled at her from beyond the veil of brightness. Evelyn felt a coolness creeping along her spine, a whisper of doubt that gnawed at her resolve. What if I can't fight this? What if Mia's lost forever? The fabric of the realm shifted around her, colors bleeding like watercolor on a wet canvas. Evelyn gritted her teeth, refusing to let the shadows draw her into despair. With each heartbeat, her connection to the pendant swelled deeper, a recognition that it held potential beyond mere light. It reflected her bonds, her fears, her love for Mia. "Show me how to fight," she cried, feeling the energy coil within her like a spring, ready to unleash. "Fight?" The figure laughed, the sound dripping with derision. You think such emotions can save you? They only serve to bind you tighter to your fate. Suddenly, the ground roiled beneath her, a surge of shadow that clawed at her ankles, reaching for her very soul. She stumbled back, heart pounding, but the grip of the pendant anchored her. In that instant, she made a choice not to succumb to fear, but to embrace the tender threads of hope that still buzzed inside her. Try me. Evelyn shouted defiantly, feeding the warmth of her memories into the pendant. The laughter of her childhood with Mia, the late-night talks, the silly arguments over trivial things, she poured it all in. The pendant flared with a dazzling intensity, a beacon of love shining bright against the encroaching abyss. The wave of darkness paused, hesitant. The figure's confidence waned, eyes narrowing. This is merely a spark. It holds no weight against the darkness. It snarled, but something in its voice hinted at uncertainty. Bright pulses erupted from the pendant, each beat resonating with a melodic harmony, a symphony of light and warmth. The shadows hesitated again, flickering as they neared the growing radiance. Evelyn's heart raced, a sense of unity blooming. She recalled every moment that strengthened their bond, and every ounce of love rallied behind her. Together, we are strong. She shouted, feeling the connection surge like never before. With everything she had, Evelyn closed her eyes and let the light surge forward, casting away the suffocating shadows. The place around her trembled, the beautiful colors bending into blurs as shimmers of bright white erupted from her. But just as hope surged, a pulse of darkness flickered and shot back. The figure snarled and thrust a dark fist toward her, a shadowy dart spiraling like an arrow, aimed straight for the pendant. In your light, you have given me your weakness. Time slowed. The dart flew closer, the figure's malevolence wrapped around it like a serpent coiling for the kill. Evelyn's mind raced. No. With a last surge of courage, she opened her eyes and gripped the pendant. Mia. But then, everything went black, the light snuffed out in a matter of seconds. A scream echoed in her mind, a sound that felt too familiar and too painful. Emerging from the darkness, a new figure appeared behind the shadows, and Evelyn gasped. Could it be? The chaos around her thickened. Did she really lose everything? Would she see Mia again? And in that disorienting moment, the air buzzed with whispers, voices crowded her mind, questions swirling like a storm. Had she entered a trap? Had the darkness won? But there was something more, an unseen thread pulling at her heart. The fight wasn't over yet. Evelyn braced herself, a glimmer of realization forming. What if the darkness held secrets she hadn't yet uncovered? What if they could turn the tide, if she could just find a thread binding them as friends? A new determination ignited within her, and this time, she wouldn't let fear lead. I'll fight for both of us, she declared, pushing against the weight of despair like a current, ready to uncover the truth lurking within the shadows. As the shadows writhed, a sinister laugh mingled with her resolve, sending shivers down her spine. Do you think you can defy your true fate? The night has only begun to reveal its secrets. Evelyn felt the shadows crawling around her, thick and heavy, like a living shroud threatening to suffocate her resolve. The sinister laughter echoed in her ears, taunting her, mixing with the flickering remnants of hope she still clung to. Is it Mia? Her voice trembled as the figure shifted, its presence now revealing the outline of something familiar, something she desperately wanted to believe in. Show yourself. The darkness pulsed, and the figure stepped into the wavering light. It was a reflection, albeit twisted, of herself, a version warped by despair. Her doppelganger grinned, a mixture of malice and mockery. You've wasted your energy, Evelyn. You're fighting an illusion. What do you think this is? A fairy tale? Evelyn's heart raced, but she couldn't back down. Just because you wear my face doesn't make you me, she shouted, planting her feet firmly on the trembling ground. She could feel the warmth of the pendant radiating, intertwined with her heartbeat, a reminder of why she fought. Oh, but it does. The figure jeered, stepping closer. You forget, dear sister of daylight, that every crack in your spirit, every fear, only feeds me. I am your doubt, your abandonment, your fears. In that moment, she felt a cold grip around her chest, pinching tight. Memories flooded her, blurred shadows of moments where she felt isolated, weak, where the dreadful weight of loss had pressed down hard. But then came Mia's laughing face, her warm spirit lighting up dull rooms. The moments they shared, each one surged back with clarity, pounding in her mind like a drum. You have no power, Evelyn shouted, channeling a force that coursed through her veins. These memories are my strength. I remember everything. As Evelyn spoke, the shadows recoiled, hesitation echoing from the dark figure. The light from her pendant brightened, illuminating the grim corners that had lost their color. It fought against the darkness that flickered around her, revealing wisps of memories held captive. The veil of the realm shimmered like a mirage. Look at them, she urged. All the times we stood beside each other. All the times we laughed. It's the connection I have with Mia that fuels this light. With those words igniting something deep within her, she reached out again, raising the pendant towards the dark figure. You will not take this from me, she cried, her voice growing stronger, steadier. The light exploded outward, a brilliant shockwave that sent ripples through the shadows, snatching memories from the dark, but the figure laughed again, sharper this time, slicing through Evelyn's resolve. You think you're strong? It's a pretty illusion, but a delicate one. I'll show you the ruin that hope leaves behind. The ground convulsed beneath her, the energy swirling as shadows writhed and contorted, grasping at her ankles like desperate, skeletal hands. Panic fluttered through her. The trap was tightening. No! Evelyn screamed, feeling the panic rise fiercely inside her chest. You will not win. In a split second, she aimed the pendant straight at her shadowed double. Remember this, she shouted. None of your lies will stick. You are a mere echo. Light burst forth, a cascade breaking through the shadows. It wrapped around her spirit, feeding her with warmth and purpose. In that brilliant flash, the room spun, colors twirling around her. But just as she felt the surge of triumph, dark tendrils lashed out, snagging the radiant pulse. It won't be that easy, the figure hissed, a deep-seated growl emanating from the abyss. Evelyn stumbled, struggling against the grip of despair as the shadows sizzled at the edges of her vision. Mia! She gasped again, a renewed urgency in her voice. I need you. The shadows began to warp into shapes, twisting with malice. Evelyn could hardly breathe, every nerve ending igniting with raw terror. Had the darkness indeed found a way to swallow her whole? Suddenly, an electric rush surged through her, an unyielding force pulling at her deep inside. It was as if the very essence of her memories began to intertwine with the light, creating a firestorm of energy that reverberated through the fabric of the realm. Could it be? The shadows shivered, flinching in the onslaught of luminous memories. What is this? The figure stammered, horror creeping into its voice. Hope. Evelyn roared defiantly. You can't extinguish it. And just as the darkness recoiled, ready to strike back, a voice broke through the chaos, soft yet powerful. Evelyn. Evelyn's heart leapt. Was it Mia? The voice resonated deep within her, weaving through the shadows, igniting sparks of belief that lit the way. Tears welled in her eyes, but she couldn't relent now. Hold on, Mia, I'm coming for you. The shadows twisted, the sinister figure snaked away, bracing against the light as the battle raged. And with the strength of memories fueling her, Evelyn took a step forward, ready to face the echo of her fears. Find me, she cried, arms raised, determined to break free of the curse that bound them. As the light expanded and the darkness shrank, a chilling whisper spiraled into her ear. You may have won this battle, but the war has only just begun. The echoes promised a storm yet to come. A deafening silence fell over the realm as Evelyn stared into the swirling darkness. The shadows loomed larger, fueled by a resentment that coiled tighter around her, choking her resolve. She could feel her heartbeat echoing in her ears, a countdown to the next wave of onslaught. What do you want from me? She gasped, feeling that dread claw through her chest. Her words felt like blades, intended to strike back against her dark reflection. Why do you keep coming for me? The figure shifted, its smile widening, revealing a danger that gleamed like a knife's edge. I want what you've denied yourself for too long, it hissed, moving closer until its breath brushed her cheek. I want your despair. Every moment you feel lost, every fear you harbor, it's all power for me. Evelyn suppressed the urge to recoil, forcing herself to stand firm. I will not give you anything. You're nothing but an echo of my pain. Is that so? It cooed, tilting its head, her eyes blazing with fervor. Its laughter rang out, echoing back distorted and hideous, as if the shadows themselves joined in derision. Your illusions of hope are fragile. Look around. The darkness always consumes the light. Evelyn clenched her fists, feeling the heat of the pendant radiate against her chest, charging her with a fierce determination. No. Microscopic faith is still faith. I remember Mia, I remember love, joy. You can't take that from me. With a sudden surge, she raised her pendant high. The light erupted again, brighter this time, illuminating the corners of her soul previously shrouded in night. Each burst of light ignited memories long caged laughter in the summer sun, hand in hand, dreams shared under starlit skies. But then, from the shadows, a low growl reverberated, growing with intensity. And what happens when the light dims? When you're alone and your heart aches with loneliness? The figure snarled. It will just be us, I will be waiting. Evelyn's breath caught in her throat. Images of Mia vanished before her eyes like mist, and cold dread settled in her bones. Had she truly forgotten those darkest hours? The struggles that had sent her spiraling? She shook her head, battling the surge of grief that threatened to overwhelm her. Stop! She shouted, desperation lacing her voice. You have no power over me. I refuse to let the darkness define me. With a defiant roar, she flung her arm forward, unleashing another wave of brilliance that coursed through the air, illuminating every stark shadow. In that radiant embrace, she felt herself surge in identity reclaiming its strength, but then, a gripping pain shot through her, bolts of agony wrapping around her legs. The shadows writhed, reaching out hungrily, their whispers clawing into her mind. Remember the pain, Evelyn. The isolation. The moments you felt like you weren't worthy. I'm your truth, no. She cried again, but the shadows lunged, pulling her down, threatening to bury her once more. Just as she felt her pulse fade, the voice of hope emanated from the pendant itself, a beacon of resilience. Mia. She cried out in a frenzy, fear clawing at her throat. Where are you? The darkness shuddered, as if responding to her desperation. From the furthest corner of the abyss, a light flickered, a silhouette emerging, strong and unyielding. Mia. Evelyn whispered, hope rising within her chest. Evelyn. You have to remember who you are. We were never meant to be apart. The figure shouted, its voice rich with emotion. The shadows recoiled at the closeness of Mia's spirit, straining against her oncoming warmth. Break free. Don't let them take you. Mia urged, vivid and real, thrusting the shadows with bursts of golden light that chased back their advance. Evelyn's heart hammered. She could feel the connection between them stretching, straining against the chasm. This was her chance. Together. She cried, fueling all her thoughts, her memories, her love for Mia into the light. As the shadows trembled and writhed, a blinding flash enveloped them both, creating a vacuum that splintered the darkness. But just before the burst consumed everything, a chilling voice echoed, you think this will end the torment? There looms a greater darkness. This is merely the beginning. Little light. With that, the energy erupted, swallowing the last whispers of the shadows, but Evelyn felt a new weight settle in her chest, an anticipation of something sinister lurking just beyond. Could hope truly withstand the oncoming storm? As the brilliance faded, leaving a stark void, Evelyn braced herself, heart pounding, fearing what lay ahead. What waited in the shadows of the unknown? Evelyn awoke again, falling to soft, green grass. The sky above was a brilliant blue, the sun shining bright and warm. She blinked, disoriented, searching her surroundings like a desperate traveler lost in a dream. Was she back? Had she truly escaped the darkness, or was it another illusion? Mia! She called, voice hoarse and wild. But the weight in her chest told her some part of her remaining tangled in the remnants of the shadows. She pushed herself off the ground, scanning the vast expanse, the feeling of dread creeping back. The world seemed too still, then, from the corner of her eye, she saw something movement. Evelyn dashed toward it, heart racing, hope fluttering with impatience. A figure emerged, stepping cautiously from behind a tree, and as the sun spilled its light, Evelyn felt breath rush from her lungs. It was Mia, looking as if they had just been separated by a week at summer camp, not an epic battle against darkness. Ev. You're okay. Mia's voice was music, a melody cutting through Evelyn's phobia. They rushed toward each other, arms outstretched. I thought I lost you. Evelyn choked out, squeezing Mia tight, tears spilling down her cheeks. No way. Mia replied, her voice filled with determination. Not now, not ever. We've been through too much. Relief washed over them both, a wave of warmth rising from their joined hands, chasing away the residual chill that clung, but an echo lingered, the shadowy voice telling them this was merely a reprieve. What if it comes back? Evelyn whispered, pulling back to look into Mia's eyes, searching for reassurance. Mia took a deep breath, glancing up at the wide expanse of blue sky, swirling with stitched clouds. We faced it together this time. We can do it again. We have the light in us, she declared, fierce and unwavering. It can never take that from us. The shadows within Evelyn felt their grip loosen. She could feel her heart pounding a steady rhythm, a reminder of the bond they had forged, of all the joy and courage they had stoked in one another. Just then, the ground trembled slightly beneath their feet, a reminder that the darkness would linger, waiting and watching. This isn't a total victory, is it? Evelyn remarked, a nervous edge to her voice. It's just the beginning, Mia said, her tone somber. The darkness might return, but so can we. They stood tall together, faces illuminated in the sunlight, the shadows beyond becoming mere reminders not of fear, but of the strength born in their hearts, the unfathomable connection that not even the deepest shadows could sever. I still hear it, Evelyn admitted, glancing around, sensing the lingering threat nearby. And what if it returns? We will be ready. Mia said fiercely, echoing their unyielding determination, her eyes fixed on the horizon. Together, we are unstoppable. The light of our friendship can push through any darkness. With newfound resolve, they took a step forward, hand in hand, and that light pulsed brightly, as if summoning stars from the sky. They would not retreat, they would not falter. The shadows might stir, but they would confront whatever emerged. And when that moment arrived, they would be ready. Evelyn squeezed Mia's hand. We'll face it together. No matter what. Always, Mia replied, with renewed hope fueling their steps. They moved forward, where the light met the shadows, ready to embrace whatever the future held. Whatever threats awaited, they would rise against them with bravery and love woven into every stride. The sun dipped below the horizon, casting the world into twilight, but the light in their hearts blazed bright, a beacon of hope against the gathering darkness. They had won this battle, and that would ring in their hearts as each day dawned anew, and so their story continued, not just of fear and shadows, but of bravery mixed with resilience, bonded forever in the splendid light of their friendship. And now, this is the moment to show your support. You need to subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories that are about to unfold. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm. Your interaction helps us grow, and we appreciate every one of you. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about the ending. I want to hear from all of you. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. Stay connected and let's keep this amazing community alive.